Hello people. Yeah, you know when you're in that mood and you think, should I do a video today? Do I really feel like it? And I don't really feel like it, but I do, because I'm completely mad and schizophrenic. Anyway, it's been an interesting few days, actually. Something I noticed, hold on. Something I noticed was that they've been chemtrailing like never before. I mean, like really going for it. And yet every morning there's been the most amazing skies with like ultraviolet and a golden sort of pink, which is you know, the colour of infinite unconditional love, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but it's that really good high vibrational colour, you know, great mother type of colour. And it seems to neutralise and disperse these chemtrails, so that really cheered me up. I think it's brilliant. Anyway, yeah, I don't really know how to start, because like I'm saying, I'm not feeling all that wonderful today. I guess what I wanted to talk about is power. Power, and what it means to be powerful, right? So in this insane asylum reality, what people think about power, they think about people like Louis XIV, you know, Louis the was it the 14th or the 15th or the thing, whatever, Louis XIV, the Sun King, or Henry VIII, or some mega powerful billionaire, or the Illuminati, or whatever, you know. They're generally male, or, well, Maggie Thatcher, but she was male really. They're generally people that have absolutely no conscience whatsoever. They're profoundly evil, rabidly evil individuals with a great deal of power, and it's all to do with inflicting their desires and their will upon other people. It's basically, when you hear the word power, for a lot of people, when they hear the word power, immediately the mind goes to, oh, evil, darkness, manipulation, control, abuse, violations, brutalizations. Power, evil is power, power is evil, right? That then kind of leads to us feeling that, oh, we mustn't be powerful because power is evil. So you get where that goes. That isn't a good idea at all. That's, you know, because that is not what power is. Actually, that is powerlessness. Because why the hell would power want to control anything? If you're powerful, you do not need to, right? This is another clever gaslighty schism that has slipped into the whole equation with regards to our perception and how we see reality and what is what. Power is self-knowledge. Power is... it's very difficult to put this into words for me. It's self-knowledge. Power is self-mastery, though I'm not keen on that word. I can't think of another word to replace it. Power is free will, and the ability to use that free will, I suppose, to liberate oneself from the slavery that is this existence. Power is the ability to liberate and heal our own consciousness. That is, in my view, that is what power is. Power is the energy I refer to as love, I suppose, which is inherent in everything, and we are a part of it. It is in us and all around us at all times, and we are alchemists in a way, and we came into this insane asylum world, and many of us have been through excruciating, torturous experiences which has really fucked us up. But you know, we came here to go through that in order to alchemize it and return back to love. It all sounds a bit insipid, I suppose, but language is so of this place that really it's hard to use language to indicate what you really want to say. So what's going on this moment, and what's been going on since last year, really, is the crossroads energy, the crossroads, alright, there are two ways of being now. There is a choice that we need to make, basically. That's how it feels to me, and that's what keeps coming up. So either life, reality, whatever, this experience, such as it is, just happens to us, and we spend our life reacting to it, trying to survive, trying to keep our heads above water, you know, spending most of our time in a state of fear, stress, duress, anger, rage, victimhood, self-punishment, vengeance, blame, guilt, shame. None of it any good. It's going to be interspersed here and there with some feeling of gratitude or appreciation or relief or momentary absence of troubles. Like I said, I've paid all my bills, so I can relax for a bit now until I have to pay all my bills again. That sort of shit. In other words, reactivity. Life happens to us, we're here, life happens to us, and we've got to fight and struggle to stay alive and somehow navigate the choppy waters of life, because, you know, and spirituality is there to help us cope. Or we are here to achieve reset. We're here to alchemize and transform this shit show. And why is it like this? Why are we here? Why are we going through such a bloody hard time? Why is everything feeling so crank and so ramped up and so, you know, like, oh, I'm going mad, I can't take it anymore. Whoa. Right, well, I believe evil is a sickness of consciousness. It is a sickness of consciousness. And the crossroads is the ultimate gambit, as it were, because the only way we're going to have reset or transformation or freedom or liberation or whatever way you want to put it, well, you know, it doesn't really matter, they're just words, but the only way to do that is to stop playing the game. It's to stop being reactive. It's to opt out of that. And so that's what I've been trying to do. I say trying because some of the time I manage it and some of the time I don't. And the reason for that is that the minute you come to the realization that it's a fucking illusion. Just wash my hair and it's a bit silly. See, it's an illusion, but you see, that's a trick. It's like, oh, I look a bit silly, and off you go. It's a tangent. Life is full of tangents. Oh, I was constantly have grit in my eyes and funny sounds in my ears and headaches. Things are very odd and off and weird and you know, that they have been so strange. Things have been so fucking strange, people. Sorry if I'm a bit all over the place today, you know, like a balloon. That's just being like that. That's a kind of how I feel a bit actually, but right, the crucial point of it all that's become very, very, very obvious to me is you have to make a choice, Anika, here, now, to stop playing that fucking game. To sit here and say, oh, life is real and it's happening to me and I feel like a victim because it's all really bad and it's really, really shit and evil controls it all and I have to pay my bills and I shouldn't have to and I have to work for a living and I shouldn't have to and I'm sick and I'm unwell and, you know, I'm growing old and that's all wrong and the menopause, that's all wrong and it's all being done to me and it's making me feel really fucking angry and powerless and full of hate and full of rage and reactive, you know, all of that, because I feel that way. I mean, I'm quite an intense person anyway. My feelings, therefore, are quite, you know, explosive as well. Especially, you know, of course, when the more you awaken, the more you're into that, because of course it's evil, the Illuminati, the powers that be, the Greys, the Jinn, the Archons, or whatever is fucking going on. You never really quite know what's going on. You know you're being had, but you can never quite know quite how and who and are. You get really involved in all the conspiracy theories, but you never really find the answer, you know, the proof that, oh, this is how it is, because and you start to realize that, whoa, it's much more complex and much more weird, and eventually you get to yourself, to the fact that, hey, I am at the center of it all. This is my consciousness somehow. Yes, okay, it's like a game, and okay, right. Then you start to realize, well, actually, when I choose to feel like a victim, when I choose to get upset and angry and believe that it's real and set in stone and that it's happening to me, I start to feel like absolute shit. And that's when everything kind of goes tits up. Which is true, it does. There is another way, but it's a very difficult way, I find anyway. And that is to say, you know what, I'm not doing this. So there's like all these problems in my life, right? There's my health, there's money problems, there is problems with family, there's always, life is always like that, isn't it? There's always problems, there's always a problem. There's this woman that said, oh, well, life is like a series of problems that have to be solved. And it's like, whoa, that's great, but it basically is. If that's, for most people, that is how it is, you know, and life, it's like problems. There's always fucking problems. There's always a problem. And there's always stress, crank. So what happens when you say, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm just going to sit back, right? I'm just going to sit back and I say, stop that, no more. No, I'm not doing it. And you think, well, I don't know how to do that, because our minds, there is a part of us that is so attached to all of that. It's like, well, it's real, there are problems, and I'm going to have to do something about it, you know, and it's always me, it's always happening to me, it's always shit, oh, rah. That is playing the game, that is allowing yourself to be sucked into this fake experience, this fake reality, which isn't real. Opting out is to stop doing that. Is to be aware that you have the power to say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm letting go of all these problems, of all the drama, of all of that. I'm not doing it. Now you can shift that energy within yourselves. It's very difficult to explain, actually. I thought it was going to be quite easy, but it turns out it isn't. Now I'm sitting here talking about it. You'll find that life basically is like a gun. Life is like a gun. It's like you get triggered. You get triggered all the time. Something happens and it triggers an emotional reaction of fear or anger, or you feel like a victim, you feel abused, you feel used, you feel powerless, you feel like a martyr, you feel like a victim, you feel like you want to go, trigger, we're trigger happy, you know, our ego, as it were, not ego really, it's a dark side, the shadow part of us, which is used to living that way, and we're used to being, existing that way, to be in a constant state of reactivity to shit that incoming missiles, whatever love chucks at you, incoming missiles, reactivity. And the whole idea is that, yes, incoming missiles, it's like threats as well, you know, like, oh, if you don't pay that water bill today, we're going to cut off your water supply, whatever, you know. How will I survive? How will I get? Oh my God! And shit happens, man. You know, people in this awakening journey, you know, shit really happens. I mean, people lose their jobs, people lose friends, people lose family, people get sick, people get depressed, people go through all kinds of shit. And for a long time, you stay very reactive, and you feel like you're being like. Especially if you come from a religious background, you know, one of the programs is, oh, God is punishing you. Because, of course, that's really what it's all about. The reason we're so reactive is because we're so bloody traumatized. We're so fucked up. And the dark side of our being is so perverse because being reactive is very, very addictive. It wants to be reactive. It wants to feel that hate and that rage and that anger and that, ooh, it wants to feel that. And there's that part of you that wants to keep going there. Keep going there. Yes, that's where it's at. You've got to fight the powers that be. Fight the powers. Fight the powers that be. Well, no. You see, because when you do that, you're really only hurting yourself. I know this. All that hate and all that rage and all that reactivity ultimately really just harms you, me, us. It harms us, you know, it really makes us ill. And it achieves absolutely fucking nothing other than a perpetuation of being stuck in the matrix. That's the key. The key is that we need to opt out. Because if we don't opt out, and if we keep playing this game, we will never leave. You cannot enter heaven with the consciousness of hell. So we need to let go of hell consciousness. And that is the hardest thing to do. It really, really is. First of all, you need to want to do that. You need to see the necessity of doing that, of making that choice. Once you've overcome that hurdle, as it were, you then need to implicate it. You need to do it. Well, that's when the deluge comes up. All of a sudden you start getting triggered by just about everything. I mean, I was just perusing the internet yesterday, and there was a quote by a guy called Wayne Dwyer, and I never liked, well, you know how I feel about New Age and New Age gurus. I do not adhere to any of it, but occasionally they say something that's useful, and I'll take that on board and I'll leave the rest. But in this particular instance, he said something about depression that fucked me off to such an extent that if he was not actually dead, I might just go and find out where he lives to strangle him to death. See, reactivity. Trigger, major trigger. You'll find yourself being triggered. And the thing to do with that is to allow, well, obviously you're going to allow because there's nothing you can do. It will come up. All this shit comes up. And for me, what came up there, was all kinds, and it was very, very deep center stuff, you know. So it's like it goes in there and it comes up, and there's always a choice. There is a choice to say, right, I'm going to feel these feelings, I'm going to allow these thoughts, but I'm not going to be like a ship to sail into this. I know, I've said in the past, when there's a storm going on, sail into it. There is truth to that, but what I didn't mean to say, oh man, this video is a bit messy actually. It's a bit messy because it's, you know, but I felt like I had to get this stuff out of my system. I had to talk about this today, you know, and anyway. Yes, triggers are everywhere now because something is being ramped up. I can feel it, right? It's meant to be because we're getting somewhere now. I can feel that in my gut. I know it, right? And so we're being hit really hard. And it is very hard to say, no, I'm not going in to these feelings and these thoughts and believe them to be real and play out the victim and the martyr and the self-hate and the self-punishment or the vengeance and the judgment and the rage and the shame and the guilt. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch it and remain semi-neutral as well as inviting a bit of love into the equation, which takes great focus and effort of will, but it can be done because I've been doing it. Those feelings are not just going to go away, by the way, when you do that. They're still going to be there. You're still going to have to allow these feelings to come up and pass, and then more will come up and pass, and more will come up and pass. Depending on what you're cleansing out, depending on what it is. If you're dealing with deep trauma, deep programming, it will take a while, you know, for that to process. But it will be so much better if you do not go into it and believe that it's all true and pretend you're watching a film. Pretend you're watching a film, because that's really kind of what it's like. Become a witness to your own process and choose love. Be kind. Choose love. If you need to repeat to yourself certain affirmations or phrases that help you, that resonate with you, that give you a sense of self-care and self-love and safety, then do that. That's funny, safety, because you see that quote or statement I saw yesterday actually is all about my feeling of not being safe, which all human beings on this planet, and in fact all living beings on this planet, feel that way, because we don't feel safe. Because we're always under attack. We're always under attack and we're always under duress. You know, the very fact that, you know, we have to pay taxes and that we can't just leave and go to another country. Oh no, you have to have a passport and, you know, whatever. It shows you this is a prison planet, there's no doubt about it. It's a concentration camp. And we are massively manipulated and abused. And that is all we've known. And so we are very traumatized, we are very reactive, we believe it's real. So to say, no, it isn't real, and I don't have to play this game anymore, I'm going to opt out. And yeah, right now there's loads of problems going on in my life, but instead of going into these feelings of rage about that, and this isn't right, and this isn't fair, and fucking ooh, I'm gonna feel those feelings in a different way. I'm going to experience those nuances, those thoughts, those feelings in a different way. I'm going to witness them and lovingly release them. Release that energy, because that is the energy that keeps us trapped here, that keeps us stuck. You know? That is the cross The cross is that nervous system, fight or flight response type scenario, you know. It's the cross that anchors us into this reality, without a doubt. And the only way to transcend and achieve reset is by stopping to play the game. You know, in extremis, necessity finds a way. I mean, you can hit rock bottom to such an extent that you simply have no option left but to either kill yourself or to say, you know what, fuck it. Fuck it. All this shit is happening in my life. I mean, I can see the world now for what it is, and it's a fucking hellhole, and I'm sick to death of it, but I'm done with feeling all the hate and all the rage and all the insanity and believing it all to be real and being at war with it all and fighting and resisting it all. I'm done with that because I'm not fighting evil. I'm not diminishing the powers of evil. I'm actually just fucking diminishing myself, and I'm fighting myself, and I'm hurting myself. I'm not protecting myself. I'm not loving myself. I'm not honoring myself. I'm not keeping myself safe here, feeling all of that like that, being with believing that, that is who I am, that is what I must do, and this is how it is. That isn't getting you anywhere. It's not getting me anywhere at all. It's harming us. It's making us ill. And it's what keeps us trapped in this place. And it keeps those little grey creatures from being able to feed of us. Because that is what they want, you see. And they want you, me, you, all of us. They want us to be permanently stuck in that reactive state. That is what they want. And that is why it is so perversely difficult to stop doing that. It's crazy. My God, the resistance that comes up is crazy. And a lot of you might even feel triggered by me doing this video about it, saying, oh, what the fuck are you talking about, stepping away from it? You've got to be at war with it. Oh, you've got to fight them, fight. You know, and if you're still there, that's fine too. You're not ready yet, you know, for stopping that and giving up on that. I mean, that's fine, that's fair enough. But I am exhausted, and I just can't do that anymore, and I just don't want to anymore. I believe that nothing is beyond the power of love to heal it. Nothing at all. Love as an energy is what it's all about. Love as an energy, as a magical presence that is everywhere somehow. That energy, the feeling, the sense of that, and allowing that to come in through you is what will sort this shit show out. That is what will do it, you know. And it's not a case of, oh, but we have to wait for all the other people to ascend, because that's bullshit. That's like democracy, and I don't believe in democracy, the rule of the majority type shit. I don't believe in that at all. I think it's a very personal thing. It's your personal quest. It's my personal quest. And maybe for some people, being at war with reality and at war with the dark side, which in itself is the dark side, alright, if you see what I mean, that's the MO of evil, is to fight against and tussle with, and that is in and of itself evil. But you know, for some people maybe that is the way. I mean, you know, I'm just saying that for me it ain't, and I'm not doing it anymore. And more now I'm beginning to realize that to let go of that really strong knee-jerk reaction, to get really angry and be in a state of resistance, is, it's soul destroying, and it's exhausting. Enough. Every journey starts with a step, one single step, and that step right now for me is to not do that anymore. It's to I keep breathing, you know, like when I wake up in the middle of the night and I've got such pangs of anxiety, I just breathe into it, you know, really deep into my gut. let go. Just keep letting go, and the feelings don't necessarily go away straight away, and you might be having to do this, and then eventually you'll enter a state of more peace and more love and more, oh yeah, I feel better now, okay, good. That means that all that stuff is being purged out, and something happens, you get triggered, catalytic, you know, bang, oh, you're right back where you thought you'd started, and you have to do it again, you know. But that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm going to keep on doing, because it feels right, because I am tired of playing this fucking game, and I'm tired of being in this crap, you know. I mean, this game is rigged. Everything is forever dying and disintegrating in this world, which tells us that it is a lie, that this world is a lie, that there is a world where everything is eternal and infinite, a world that is, well, paradise. It's paradise, it's heaven. But we cannot enter that world, we cannot enter there with the consciousness of war, of resistance. We have to embody love consciousness. We have to do that. Well, we don't have to, but it's there if we want to. And it's going to put us through our paces, by the looks of it. It's certainly doing that for me, because there's a great deal of resistance going up. But just really, if you think about it, it's a load of bullshit. I mean, I've said this before in previous videos, that it's the father of fucking lies. It truly is, you know, it's the father of lies. It's just these little grey creatures that want to keep feeding, because if you or I step into the consciousness of love and surrender, these creatures, they will starve. They'll starve to death, and we will be free. Alright? But if we keep resisting, and keep fighting and resisting and trying to control, and I'll be angry and so, then they feed, we get sicker and sicker, and well, it all goes tits up and it's shit. And then you'll have to die, grow old, or not, get sick and die, grow old and die, and then you'll come back here again. You'll go to that NDE place, you know, the place where all the near-death experience people go, where, well, that's another story for another day, but it seems to me that it's some sort of recycling plant, and you just get sent back here again, you know, because you didn't make it out. The only way out is by cleaning up your own consciousness and by taking responsibility for the energetic resonance that you hold. And it's as if, you know, like in extremis, things have got to get to a point where you really just can't take anymore, and that is when you find the light. That is when you realize, you know what, I'm doing this to myself. I'm choosing to get really upset about this and believing it all to be real. Oh, they're all doing it to me and I'm in a terrible state. What am I going to do? How am I going to, oh my God. Because, hey, I don't actually have to do that. Yeah, I feel that way. I feel really desperate and really terrified, actually. But I can also stand back and feel that feeling, feel that emotion. Oh, these thoughts, and I can feel that, experience that, but I don't have to choose to be that. That doesn't have to be my truth. It maybe this doesn't, I don't know, make sense to everybody. It's actually really difficult to put this into words, and I would say that is because it has to be experienced. It's a very, very personal, individual journey, right? This quest. It's a very individual thing. And so the words and ways in which I explain this may not be your way and your words, of course not. So maybe some of you are going to think, well, I don't know what she's on about, and then so that's fine, and just ignore me then and just think, well, fuck it, this video doesn't resonate, next, which is fine too, guys, you know, it's not a problem. But I really feel I was reading a book the other day, well, trying to actually, it's a really crap book, but there was a good sentence in it, and it is this: turn away from the I'll start again. Turn away from the darkness that beckons you. Turn around and step back into the light. We have that choice. We have that ability. We have that choice. We have the power to do that. We have the focus to do that, even if we have to do it again and again and again. And often enough, that is what happens. We have to do this again and again and again. It's true. This is really the only way to purge out evil. You know, Paul Levi calls it wetico. It's true. It's the only way. It's the only way, because we're not going to purge out this evil within us that the little creature feeds on by holding on to it, right? And no, that's keeping it in situ in many ways. Though, oddly enough, I've been doing that for years, holding on there, you know, and yet I've healed, see? So it's paradoxical and odd. I think whatever your quest is, wherever you are at, all of us will eventually be victorious, be triumphant. I feel that with all my heart. But choices do have to be made as well. It's part of the experience to get to that point where you realize that in order to be free from the sickness, you have to let it go. But it's interesting, you see, because it's the benevolent catch-22. Because evil does happen to us. There's no denying that. It does happen to us, you know. I had a guy banging on my door the other day, you know, smart meters. I gave him a lashing of my tongue and sent him on his fucking way. But it had an effect on me. They had really bad energy. And it was like, it went straight in there and it really upset me. And my heart was going ka-doom, 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 and I was really strung out. And I had to practice what I'm preaching here. I had to sit down on my sofa and do that. And I had to do that for a good hour before I started feeling a little lighter. I had to let go of that feeling I had of wanting to attack him with a very sharp implement and do him some serious harm. See, I told you I'm a very intense person, you know, I get feelings of homicidal intent. And the guy was such an arsehole. And he was so in your face and pushy, you know, telling me all a battery of lies about why I needed to have smart meters. And it was like, look mate, you're talking to me, I don't want you to talk to me, go, now. And he's still at it. And in the end, I literally had to, you know, it was intense. But anyway, that was a major trigger. And it took me a while to release that. And it brought up all kinds of feelings, you know, you're not saved, the powers that be can do what they like and there's nothing you can do and all this type of shit, usual. And of course that makes us really angry, right? When we're threatened by this shit. So it took me a while. But I released a shitload of negative, heavy, sickness energy from my being. Which, you know, once it is released, you won't have to do that again. Yeah, more shit will come up and that will keep happening until we are clear. That's reset, you see. What happens then exactly, I can't tell you. When it happens, I'll let you know. Okay? I do believe with all my heart that we no longer live in this insane asylum, but that it literally is the way out. Something happens, something amazing happens, and maybe we haven't heard from anybody about that. It's because those people are no longer here, you see, so they're not here to tell us, hey guys, I've got out, it's amazing. But I can't really tell them because I'm here and they're still there, so, oh, right, okay, well, you know, we'll see anyway, but I ain't giving up, I am doing this, and I'm going to continue doing this because it works better for me. I end up feeling a lot better overall, even though I'm still I'm still having to go and do the shopping. I'm still going to have to pay my bills. I'm still going to come across loads of shit on a day-to-day basis that really fucks me off. That triggers me, that makes me feel afraid, that makes me feel used and abused, that makes me feel angry, that makes me feel like vengeance, that makes me feel all kinds of stuff. And I'm still gonna practice releasing, letting go and breathing into it. I'm gonna continue to do that. That is what I'm gonna do. Because I mean, it's like, it's obvious. I can let it make me feel all those things, really go into it, believe it's all real, and boo-hoo, totally fuck myself up, which is exactly what evil wants, and be a battery to the creature. Or I can choose love. It's as simple as that, really. Turn away from the darkness that beckons you. Turn around and step back into the light. It's that. It requires strength of will, but we have that. It requires focus, we have that. It requires stamina. Yeah. But we have that. We are warriors of the light, people. Well, that's it for today. Oh, there's one more thing. Just to finish off this long ramble. There is nothing outside of you. All that you experience is but an illusion, created by our own malfunctioning consciousness. Yeah. There are two realities within us, people. There is heaven and there is hell, and it's up to us to choose where we want to be, and that choice is here now. We are at that crossroads. Is this really pivotal, really pivotal? I can feel it, and it's where we are at now. So that's it. Right, subscribe if this all resonates with you. If you're new, welcome. And lots of love to all of you, and I hope you're well.